Hello, everyone. Pop culture curator here. I'm so happy and I'm so excited to be back doing Gilligan's Island. And we missed a couple weeks, and I really do apologize for that. But here we are, and we're going to hit the ground running. We're getting close to the end of season two. Tonight, we're going to be covering the episodes Ghost A Go Go and Allergy Time. Um, these are episodes 27 and 28. There are a total of 32 episodes in the season. So yeah, we basically have just a couple weeks left. If my health holds up. I know next week I have treatment, but Wednesday I'm going to try to be available. I'll do the best I can. And first of all, I wanted to say welcome to my fellow co-panelists, Gorillas Random Thoughts. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good.
I know it's been
There.
long days. I know it's been a long day streaming for you because you just finished Justification. What
Oh,
was that, like a
justified.
couple hours? Justified.
Yeah, yeah. It's two 42-minute episodes there.
Okay, nice. You seem to enjoy the
But
show, so that's good. Is it a good
oh yeah,
show?
it's really good. Really good. There. You must not like Walton. What's his name?
I do like him. He's my favorite one. In fact, I've never heard of anybody else. I was looking at the cast, and he's the only name I recognize, and I actually do like him. He's a really good actor.
Oh yeah, he's in a lot of that. He's in a lot of the episodes there.
Yeah, and I noticed he plays bad guy sometimes. That's why I was asking you if he was the bad guy in that show you're watching. He's good as the bad guy and the good guy.
Well, he's like he, he's bad, but yet he's sometimes good. He's basically a pawn for. He's a bad guy who is a pawn for Raylan. That makes sense.
What's Raylan? I guess I'm thinking it's another
Raylan's
person.
the marshal, the main
Okay, got
marshal in
it.
the series.
So Walton is like a crooked deputy.
No, no, he's a bad guy, but for some reason he's always like he's been in prison, like gets out of prison, then the I don't know. He's
So like
supposed
a
to be. He's
pigeon.
like yeah. He's supposed to be like
Little
the
pigeon.
antagonist to. He's supposed to be the antagonist to Raylan.
Got it. Sounds like a stool pigeon. And I wanted to say hello to everyone in the chat. Hello, hello, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well. Looks like some of you guys were here really early. Jim, it's so good to see you. Jim says hello. That's Jim's landscape there. There we go. And there's a link to one of his videos. And Herc130, hail Herc. I hope you were doing well. Hello, says Herc. I guess
Hey, here.
tonight's episode, the Ghost to Go Go, might have been good for Halloween. Jim's Landscape says, hello, Herc130. And hail, Basil. Good to see you too. Basil Battle Dragon says, hi, gang. I hope everyone had a good turkey day. Well, I had a spaghetti day that day, but yeah, well, anytime a good day, I'm always very, very thankful. And Jim's Landscape says, hail, Basil.
Hey,
And
Basil.
yes, it is good to see you. Herc130 says, I haven't eaten anything since last Thursday. I'm too full. Wow. I wish I could say that turkey does sound yummy. I love it. Sometimes I'll rotate. Maybe I'll have a turkey, maybe I'll have a ham. But I don't know. I'm craving turkey, especially after listening to everybody talk about it last week.
I don't know. I still got a bunch left.
Did you finally freeze it?
No, but I found my Ziploc bags. But
Oh, well, that's good.
no, I've just got the dumplings all finished up. I made a double batch of dumplings.
Oh, sounds yummy too. Now, are those something you eat by themselves? You put them like in a soup, or how do you do that?
I eat them. I put gravy on them, or if I'm feeling ambitious, I'll fry them in a pan and then eat them.
That sounds even better if they're a little crunchy there. If you don't fry them, do you bake them, or what do you do?
Originally to make them, you boil them. I boil them in broth, chicken broth, but
Okay.
otherwise I just heat them up in the microwave.
And when you boil them in broth, they don't dissolve.
No, but it does suck up that broth a lot. It takes, those cartons of broth.
Yeah, I use
To
them. I have
take,
beef and chicken.
yeah, when it takes three of those swats and broth containers to do a double batch of dumplings.
Well, you got to make sure you get them on sale. Then those things can be expensive. Sometimes up to $3 a box here.
$1.50.
Of course, there's going to be less there. You're very fortunate. Basil says hi, Jim, and Basil says all hail the great pop culture. Hail to you likewise, Basil. Good to see you. And hello, Pleasant Valley Picker, aka PvP. Good to see you too.
Hey,
Just finished work. Need to run a few errands, but we'll pop in the chat later. Okay. Uh,
yeah.
PvP. Sounds
Hey,
good.
PvP. How's it
Probably
going?
got to. He probably has to do some grocery shopping or something. Probably go get some eggnog. And Jim says hail at Pleasant Valley Picker. Her also says hey PvP. And Basil Battle Dragon says hi Gorilla. How are ya?
Well,
And
here's my what my couple hours of my day consisted of. Paper
okay,
4 zip. Paper 4 zip. Paper 4 zip. Paper 4 zip. That's two
what is
hours of my
that?
day. Oh, I had to do our studs finally came in, so I had to do stud kits. Then I had to double check to make sure I had the right count. Then the supervisor had to check to make sure they had the right count. Then before our shipping guy sent it out, he had to double check his main count because of some stuff that's been going on the back end. But I can't talk
Oh,
about
okay.
too much on the stream.
Gotcha. How's the job market there, Gorillas? Like if I went to right there right now and look for a job, is it easy to get a job or is it hard to get jobs?
Take your pick.
Or I guess
Take your.
probably depends on what kind of job, huh?
What do you want to do? You take your pick. Take your pick. You can
Oh, I don't
put
know.
gators. You can put you can put together hydraulic cylinders. Or if you want to make fishing gear, or if you want to work Arby's, or if you want to work any job in Walmart, or if you want to put together the big Terragators, or if you want to put together some John Deere stuff, or if
Which
you
I
want
have
to
no
make.
right, all that mechanical stuff I have no experience in doing, so that I doubt they're gonna hire me.
They'll train you.
Oh well, that's not
They'll
too bad then.
they'll train you.
Maybe,
They'll train you.
yeah, maybe if I was about 30 years younger
Don't.
and
Oh my
much
god!
healthier.
Right now, they'll take anybody.
Oh well,
They might
that's
need. There's a one company that's just down the road there. You could probably roll someone right out of the ICU and they'll hire them. They're that desperate.
oh, what kind of work is that?
Uh, what? I'm not even exactly sure what they fixed something there. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's just down the road too.
Sounds like they have a
But
high turnover.
yeah, well, everybody's trying to get into Egco right now because they're the biggest payers right now.
And Egco, what is that?
Uh, you probably haven't seen the big tractors and sprayers that are out in the fields that they assemble them there. They go on the
Okay,
fields and they get spray like a lot of their sprayers could spray like 20, 30 rows at a time.
so Deej Odyssey would probably know what all that is.
Yeah, you know what the ACO interrogators are.
Ola Greg, hello everyone, says Ola Greg. Hello,
Oh
Ola Greg.
gee, how's it going?
Basil says, hey, there's nothing wrong with ham. It's yummy. Yes, I totally agree, especially if you wrap it in bacon before you bake it. And Jim says, hey, Ola Greg. Ola Greg says, hey, Jim. Herc 130 says, salute at Ola Greg. And Ola Greg says, hail, Herc. Basil says, hail, Ola. Hail, Basil says, Ola Greg. And hello, Resolute Germ. Good to see you. Resolute Germ says, hello. Basil Battle Dragon says Wally Rule will hire Granny Clampett, so no worries there. All right, if Wally Rule was real and if she was real and alive,
I don't know who
and
Granny Camp it is.
from an
The
old TV
Beverly
show called
Hillbillies.
yes, that was the name of the Clampett family.
Okay.
Resolute Germ, Resolute Germ says those are the types of jobs that English puts you in the top 10% of applicants. Pop. Oh well, I definitely know English. I don't know what it's going to do. I don't know how it's going to help me if I'm working on hydraulics and stuff like that. Honestly, but
Well, no, they make hydraulic cylinders for it to go. Then they ship them out to the plants that make your dump trucks, make your anything that has a hydraulic cylinder in it.
Right, but it sounds like mostly machine work, isn't it?
Well, you got so well. There's tons of different jobs. There's cleaning the parts, and then there's welding the parts. There's testing the parts. There's drilling the parts. There's all kinds of jobs. It's not very hard. I worked there for a couple months before I got laid off.
Well, then it sounds like the job market's pretty good out there. It sounds like you said, take your pick, which means if you're looking for work, there should be no excuse to be able to find any
Yeah.
or to not be able to find any. And I've got the Stream Elements bot, everybody. If you get a chance, I'm going to mention this here really quick at the beginning of the stream. Our good friend and my fellow co-host on my horror sci-fi stream is Nemesis of Eden, and we're trying to see if we can raise money together to help him get a cheap laptop so he could do his um, YouTube and maybe start building his own channel and stuff like that, and maybe try to get him started. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's honest. He doesn't have a lot of money right now. When he gets on YouTube, all he has is his phone. So if you're able to help out Nemesis, I'll drop a link in the chat. Like I said, he's totally honest.
Sorry, it's up on the screen right now. It's up on the screen right now.
Yes. But yeah, if you guys get a chance, we're not asking for a lot. A little bit at a time helps. But he's a great guy. If you check out our horror sci-fi stream on Tuesdays, you'll see what I mean. And sometimes he might pop up in the chat randomly during these streams here as well. And hello, LDG. So good to see you. LDG says, evening, guys. And sorry I'm late. Oh, LDG, you're not that late. We're just BSing back and forth. We haven't even started our first episode yet, which I know I need to get to because we're getting it to a quarter after the hour. And Basil says, look at pawn shops. You might find a decent computer for a reasonable price. I'm not against that. You're right. I know computers enough to where if I could get my hands on one, I know how to examine it pretty good or pretty well to make sure that it's going to be not a lemon. Obviously, I want to make sure it's something that's not going to die like 2 days after I get it out, after I buy it. But we're also possibly maybe just looking for like something basic and simple. Similar to my laptop, when I got mine, it only had 4 gigs of RAM and a 512 gigabyte hard drive, which is obviously you can't do much with. So I expanded my RAM to 32 gigabyte, and I got an external 1 terabyte. Well, now I think it's a 12 terabyte hard drive. I think I have now externally hooked up to my laptop. So it's always you can always get a cheap one because most of them have a good enough processor where they can do the YouTube and editing videos. That's not an issue. Normally, it's like RAM and storage space are the 2 big things they need the most. And hello, Cody Guy. Cody Guy's waving. Good to see you, Cody. I'm glad you could join us tonight.
Hey, welcome, Cody. How's it been? How have you been?
Yeah, what a great turnout. Okay, so without further ado, let me make sure I got my video ready here. Make sure I got subtitles. Can't forget those subtitles.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. And I'm just getting everything ready, everyone. I've got to figure out if Gilligan's Island is one of the reasons why I'm not getting monetized. I don't know. But without further ado, here we go. Okay. All right, so we're going to start off with our opening titles, as we all know, which I wish I could play more than anything, but unfortunately we know we can't because I'll get a copyright strike. Sad to say.
Yeah. Now we
So,
open up. Yeah,
go ahead.
we're opening up here with this. Ooh! How did that
Right.
not wake up Skipper? I wish I could sleep that soundly, where something that loud and that annoying will keep me asleep. Will let me sleep.
Yeah, exactly. But you'll notice when they show Skipper, he's snoring. So I think they hint that his snoring kind of outdrowns or drowns out maybe the noise from everything else.
Yeah.
But I want to remind everyone this episode is Ghost a Go Go. It was originally broadcast on Thursday, March 24th of 1966, and the plot description is as follows: A ghost on the island has the castaways scared for their lives, but it actually gives them a boat so that they can get off the island. So it's like, okay, we'll find that interesting. They actually get their hands on a boat for a change. So here we are, and as Gorilla said, we hear like a ooh sound outside,
Yeah.
and Skipper is dead asleep. And Gilligan keeps asking him, "Don't you hear that? Don't you hear that?" And wasn't that you, Skipper?
Now,
Unfortunately, Gilligan. Go ahead.
now, can we just say how great it is that they bring back? Are they the ones that started that trope with the whole sheet thing?
Oh no, that goes way back. Three Stooges did it. Laurel and Hardy did it. I mean, it goes. The old sheet thing goes way, way, way back.
Yeah, but that's just so funny. You gotta love the classic old the just put a sheet over someone and call them a ghost.
Yes. In fact, that's there's a movie that I'm going to be covering on my horror stream, and it's called. I'm trying to remember the exact name. It's called "I Am a Ghost" or something like that. But what's interesting is it's a very, very good movie. It's a horror movie about a ghost, but the ghost looks like a sheet. So it's an interesting way of presenting a ghost in a movie, seriously, without it being a joke. So Gilligan sees the ghost outside the window, quickly closes the shade, and it says, "Skipper, Skipper, wake up." So he attempts to wake up the Skipper, who's not very happy, of course. And Skipper says, "You didn't wake me up out of a sound sleep, did you?" So Skipper obviously does not believe Gilligan about a ghost. And he says, "You woke me up for that." And of course, he tells Gilligan, "You just dreamt it was a ghost." Gilligan
Yeah,
goes out and looks again, and there's the ghost inside the window, right outside the window. Go ahead.
yeah. It's kind of getting a little bit old there when you're watching these back to back like we have been. That Gilgan says something happens. They're like, "Oh, you're full of crap. Just let me go back to." It seems like every episode they stopped it for a while, but now they're starting to bring it back more and more. When Gilgan says something happened, they tell him he's full of crap.
Oh, yeah, I
Instead of
know it, right? I guess you could say it's a trope of the show.
yeah,
So this is the next day. Gilligan was hiding in the closet, and Skipper uh, coaxes him out of the closet and tells him to go outside. And then Skipper goes out. Basically, Skipper's trying to break him of the habit of the ghost and trying to convince Gilligan there is no ghost. Gilligan's trying to see if he can find footprints. And of course, Skipper says there's no ghost, and he says if there was, they'd leave no footprints.
yeah.
So
I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna go refill my drink.
sound good? Sounds good. So then Gilligan says, well, maybe they have fingerprints. And Skipper just wants to distract him. So Skipper says, why don't you go get some firewood and I'll get some fresh water for the hut. So Gilligan heads off to get firewood and he says, I'm not jumpy. And then, of course, he runs into the tree. And now we have Marianne with laundry walking. Gilligan not paying attention, accidentally bumps into her and knocks the laundry out of her hands. And now she explained to him that she heard noises last night as well. But Skipper told Gilligan not to say anything about it, so he's trying to keep mum, as they say on this show. Mum's the word. And then here comes Ginger, and she says that she heard it as well. And then now we have Mr. Howell with his practice polo horse up in the tree, and he thinks it's a practical joke by Gilligan, and Gilligan tells him that he didn't do it. And then Mr. Howell says, wasn't it you last night dressed in
Yeah.
a little white nightshirt. Gilligan tells him no. So apparently the house saw the ghost as well.
Yeah, I got a question. Why do they keep blaming Gilligan for it?
Blaming it. Well, maybe they're thinking that out of all the castaways, if anybody was going to do a practical joke, it would be Gilligan.
Huh. Yeah,
But
welcome,
obviously,
Daniel.
hello, Daniel. Good to see you. Welcome back. But obviously, as we'll see, the ghost is much taller than Gilligan. And here's we have the professor, of course, telling him that there's no such thing as ghosts, and he won't believe it. I guess apparently the professor didn't hear the all the commotion last night and didn't see anything. So the professor is making as if he's the sound of a ghost, and Gilligan hears it and rushes in, and unfortunately pushes the professor off to the side. And here we have later on that night. It's time to go to bed. Skipper's telling Gilligan go to bed. Pretty much, Gilligan's afraid to. Plus, Gilligan has all the lights on and the candles burning in this case. And he
I
keeps
wonder what
checking to
they're
see if
making candles out of, because they've had to burn through them all by now. That they had.
right. So, which means it's up to the professor. He'd have to find something on the island there that he can make wax out of, or something that burns like wax.
Yeah.
He seems to be able to make everything else, including
Yeah.
soap, glue, everything else that they need. I guess shampoo. Here's where Gilligan saying he doesn't want to go to bed and he's not sleepy. And he's asking the skipper to play checkers, and the skipper doesn't want to. And of course, the skipper, trying to break him of the habit, tells him to go outside and count to 10. And Gilligan counts really fast. And Skipper says,
Yeah.
"No, I want you to go out there and take your time." And Skipper slowly counts from 1 to 10. Gilligan goes outside, and Skipper decides to put on this sheet here to try to scare
Yeah.
Gilligan, or to actually convince him that ghosts aren't real.
Now, I watched this scene very closely. I did not see the SS Minnow on it until Gilligan came back in.
Same here. I didn't see it until this. In fact, let me show everybody what we're talking about. When Skipper grabs this sheet out of the closet and puts it on, it looks just completely plain white. But when he faces the door and Gilligan walks in, Gilligan says, "Oh, I know that's you, Skipper," because it says SS Minnow on the front. So you could see the words clearly on the front that are stamped on there. So you're right. I didn't see it when Skipper first put it on, but I did when Gilligan saw it as well. And of course, Skipper's frustrated because that didn't work. And he was trying his best. But then guess what? The ghost walks behind Gilligan, and Skipper actually sees it for a change. And,
Yeah,
and Skipper faints.
yeah. If that was written nowadays, they would have had Skipper swearing up a storm with the ghost.
Well, Skipper was too afraid, because of course, he is a child at heart. So Skipper basically passes out, faints, falls to the floor. And Gilligan says, "I'll revive you. I'll revive you."
Yeah, I was laughing really hard at this point here. Skipper's on the gets
Right,
back
Skipper
up.
wakes up. Right, Skipper wakes up and he's sitting at the table, and Gilligan walks over with water and dumps it on him, even though he's obviously wide awake already.
Yeah, that'd be deserving of an ass whooping
And
right there.
of course, the old look at the camera.
Or Skipper did, Gilligan didn't.
Right, Skipper always does. He took that from Oliver Hardy, from Laurel and Hardy, which I've been watching it all week. And so all the other castaways hear the commotion and come running in. And they see what's going on. And then now everybody is afraid that the island is haunted. And everyone's trying to decide they want to sleep there and they don't want to go back to their huts. So they're insisting they can sleep there. So Mr. Howell notices the two hammocks of Skipper and Gilligan's hammocks, and then rushes over and quickly grabs a seat on Skipper's hammock. And by seeing that, so does Ginger, and everybody wants to sleep in there at the same time. And they all get on the hammock, and of course that's too much for, including Skipper. And of
Yeah,
course, it falls to the ground.
yeah, snaps. And Gilligan's just like, good night, everybody.
Right? Gilligan's just good night because he's up on top. He's
I
doing
mean,
just fine.
he would probably share it with Barry Allen or Ginger there. Gilligan would probably be happy to.
Well,
Even
yeah,
Skipper
that's
would.
true. Yeah, maybe like a sandwich in between the two. I'd be happy. And there'd be plenty of pillows. So here we cut to the next day, and it says, "Yeah, but does the ghost know?" So they're trying to figure out the ghost, and of course the professor says it can't be real. Got to be something else. And of course he's trying to figure out everything else, maybe fog, a cloud, everything else.
It still
So he
doesn't
finally
explain the noise, though.
no, it doesn't explain. Well, no, but that's just it. But Gilligan is adamant about that. Gilligan's going to remind them because this is where Professor comes up with the idea. Maybe it's a sheet that blew off the laundry that's being blown around the island. And it's about the same time that the ghost showed up. And see, this is them basically trying to reason to themselves on what it is. So they're saying, yeah, because they're trying to do it to relieve their fears. And by saying, yeah, you're right, it's not a ghost, it's just a sheet that's been blown around the island. And then here's where Gilligan goes, yeah, except it doesn't go ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
So Gilligan definitely reminds them.
Yeah. All right. Can we catch up on chat real quick?
Good idea. Thank you.
All right. Germ says, be sure to wipe those hard drives on those pawn shop computers. You never know what they had on them. I know, right?
That's true, right? Exactly.
And Daniel says, hi, Pop, hi, Gorilla. And Northern Greg says, cheers. It says, that island looks like paradise. I wonder why they are in such a hurry to leave. I wouldn't be in a hurry, but they're used to dry land. And Basil says it's
right
to play Gilligan.
I know if I was ever on a desert island, it would be with these people. I could think of a lot worse if it was somebody else. Sorry, I was looking at something. There's like a blooper mistake that I spotted, and I believe it's in the second episode. And I'm going to point it out when we get to it. So basically, they decide to search the island and go looking for that sheet. So they all spread out and head to different directions. Are there still chats left?
Oh, he said, and Northern Greg says, true, Basil. That's all the chats.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. So Gilligan is still afraid, of course, and he asks Skipper if I can go with you to go looking for the sheet. And Gilligan says, or Skipper says, no, we can cover more ground separately. So now everybody's out looking for the sheet. And Gilligan hears a noise.
Yeah,
and the ghost is actually talking to him. Go ahead.
Yeah, how convenient. The one to find him happens to be Gilligan.
Of course. The one that finds him first, yes. And the ghost is actually talking to him. And Gilligan says, are you a good ghost or a bad ghost? And it says, good ghost. Notice that it's broken English.
And he's like, people scare me. I was like, well, people scare me too. So I guess we're...
Right. So here's where Gilligan actually runs face to face with the ghost. And as we can see, like I mentioned, it's much taller than him. And if you get a close look at the very bottom of the screen, you'll see that under the sheet, the ghost is wearing what looks like black pants and white sneakers. And Skipper goes running, of course, scared, and he's yelling for the skipper. And we have the skipper at the lagoon who apparently discovered this perfectly fine-looking boat, and he's reading a note that came with it. And he's excited, too. Of course, all happy about the boat. And Skipper reads the note that came with it. Boat has all the things you need for a long trip. Take it. It is for you. Signed, your friend, the ghost. Gilligan says it'll be great to get back to dry land. And Skipper reminds him this is dry land. Gilligan says, yeah, but it's surrounded by water. It's surrounded by wet.
Yeah, but that's kind of funny since they're going to be going to Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, you're right about that. at least temporarily, to get back to civilization.
I thought that's where Gilligan and Skipper lived was and based their boat out of was Hawaii completely.
Well, that's what I was thinking. But let me ask you this: if you were Gilligan or Skipper, and you went back to Hawaii, are you going to continue just taking doing tours again, or would you be afraid to do that again? So I don't know if
Well,
I would immediately get back into it.
I'd be watching the weather a lot more closely.
Well, yeah, that's true. But you never know; it can be unpredictable. So now Skipper tells Gilligan, "Go tell the other castaways that we have the boat. Grab some supplies, but only the bare essentials. We can't carry a lot of weight." And George Gilligan has so many questions, and he keeps saying, "Will you go tell them?" So
Well,
Gilligan tells the. Go ahead.
well, it's so funny is like Gilligan thinks when he says the bare essentials, he's meaning he wants them stripping down,
Right.
which
He
I won't
right.
mind, but that's a whole different song.
Exactly right. And then right when Skipper says the bare essentials, right? Gilligan doesn't quite understand what that is, so he's afraid to say those words to the girls. But when he does, they understand and they say, "Okay, that's fine." And he's letting them know that the boat was left behind by the ghosts. And now we have the skipper telling the house, and of course the house are trying to pack way too much luggage. Levy wants to bring all of her jewelry, and they want to bring all their money, of course, which is in big
And the furs.
right, furs, all that stuff. And of course they have like several trunks of things. And Skipper tells him, and he warned him. He says, if you they keep trying to con him into letting them bring more of their jewelry, furs, and money. And he finally puts his foot down and says that if you keep mentioning it, you're staying behind. And I was surprised he said that.
And then that's funny. He's about to say, he said one more word, I'll leave you behind. And Fitzgerald opens his mouth, and Livy goes
Right,
up and shuts it.
right, right. Hush, 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 Thurston. Right, it's funny.
Well, that's the best
And
joke
of
of
course,
probably.
Skipper's. It is. I like that. Man, Mrs. Howell is funny sometimes. I really like that her character. So now they're going to find out if everybody's ready. And he's saying, of course, oh, let me see here.
And it's this next scene. This scene here, Gilligan makes a comment you cannot make in modern comedies.
Oh, which one? You
Mrs.
sure
Howell,
got fat fast?
yeah, because you have to have that body positivity. But
I know. Yeah, you're right, huh? Of course, Mrs. Howell, of course, no, she's not allowed to bring all these trunks. So she's wearing all these layers of all the clothes at the same time.
yeah,
And of course, here come the girls, and they have a little too much stuff too. Skipper asks them if they can both share one suitcase.
yeah.
Just the
It's
bare
like
necessities.
yeah, lipstick, row, eyeshadow, mascara.
Right, which means everything. Skipper, they forgot the bare essentials, if you'll excuse me, girls. Well, these they never say what they mean.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say, yeah, we got the professor coming out here, and I know what he's thinking.
It's a trap.
Exactly.
Sorry, I've been wanting to play
Right.
that
The
all day.
professor, that's fine. The professor is very hesitant. Obviously, he doesn't trust the boat. If it's lit by some ghost, he's saying that, first we can't trust it. And then why are they wanting us off the island? What do we care?
Yeah, what? I don't even see why they would care. Just let them leave like they'd want. And then they could just claim it as claim for whatever reason.
Exactly right. So they said they're coming up with the idea. They don't trust the boat. So they said maybe we'll send it out with a dummy into the lagoon and see what happens. And Gilligan says, "Oh no, I'm not going out
Oh
on this
no,
tour
not
alone."
going. Oh no, I'm not. I'm not going. Yeah.
So they decide they're going to make 7 dummies and one that looks like each one of the castaways, and they're going to put that out on the boat and send it out, hoping to trick the goat into thinking that's them. Then that way they could test the boat, make sure it's safe before they actually go out on it. And Gilligan's putting together a dummy of Skipper,
Now I
and
got
they're
a question.
arguing because Skipper says I'm not that fat. Go ahead.
Yeah. Now that's what I'm saying. They keep Skipper saying he's not that fat. Gil keeps saying that fat. Can you actually make that joke since Skipper is a straight male?
Well, it doesn't matter about his sexuality. You can't make that joke
Well,
anymore.
like I was gonna say, you can't call a woman fat, but what if he's it's a male?
Well, of course. Well, yeah, it's okay. It's acceptable to call a man fat.
Yeah.
Back now, now it's not. But yeah, back then, yes. Well, not only that though, but fat men weren't afraid to admit they were fat. That's another thing too. They didn't have that ego where if you say they're fat, they lash out and get angry about it. That's another difference between men and women. If you tell a fat woman she's fat, she gets pissed off. And a lot of times she's in complete denial. I can't tell you how many fat people I've met. Oh, it's just a thyroid. It's not my diet. I don't eat a lot. I don't understand it. It's my thyroid. Yeah, right. Like I'll believe that one. Like there's an epidemic of people with bad thyroids.
Well, with the quality of our food, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, it's overeating and no exercise. They just don't want to admit it. I've got a sister like that. She eats like a pig, unfortunately, and she's fat as hell. And so basically we have Gilligan stuffing an extra pair of Skipper's pants, and Skipper says he's not that fat, and Gilligan says yes you are. So they go back and forth, tugging on pulling bushes out of the pants, and now we have over in the girls' hut, the professor helping them put together dummies, and he even says, which I thought was odd. He said he has experience putting together or building mannequins. And I thought, well, that's strange for the
Well, you gotta
professor.
remember he works in a lab. He's probably had experience blowing them up.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Performing experiments on them. So we have Marianne getting ready with the dummy of her, and we see Ginger's dummy in the back against the wall over her shoulder. Of course, they're undecisive of what the women are wearing, and now they decide that they don't want the dummies in those clothes, which is part of the joke. Professor tries to say, well, it doesn't matter what kind of clothes they're wearing. And it's like, well, we can't go out like this.
Well, you think you'd pick
But,
the clothes that you don't want to get wrecked.
well, that too, right. But of course, as we've all seen from watching Gilligan's Island, they seem to have a pretty big selection of clothes, so I guess it won't hurt too much.
Hmm.
And notice how Marianne dresses hers like a little schoolgirl. We wouldn't be caught dead in these things, as she says now. So they changed their mind. Well, that's like what I meant might happen. And the professor is frustrated, but he says, "Okay, oh good heavens, forgive me."
Yeah,
Because
because it's like, well, like they started undressing, and I think it was Ginger's like, Professor.
right, because she's getting ready to undress the mannequin. And I thought this was funny too. The Howells actually built their own mannequins as well.
Well,
So
the
here we have the
funniest part
mannequins of
is,
Mr. and Mrs. Howell.
well, the funniest part is, Mr. Howell's so protective of his money, but years they're stuffing the dolls full of monies.
Right. What else would you expect? Exactly. That's what's hilarious. The Howells actually stuffed them with money. Of course, they wouldn't have it any other way. And she says, "Well, I've used up all the hundreds. All I have left is a 50. Should I use it?" Oh dear, no. Then I'd be lopsided. So she says that the arms wouldn't be stuffed correctly.
And then he's like, I'll write you a check to make up the difference.
Right. And now they notice through the window that the others are headed for the lagoon, and they better hurry up with their dummies. And she says, "All right, I'll ask the skipper to carry the dummies." And he's like, "Oh no, not with our money, please. I wouldn't even let my own mother carry these." Which shows how greedy he is, of course, Mr. Howell. And here we are. We have the boat full of dummies, and Gilligan's getting ready to push it out into the lagoon. And he's
Oh.
waving goodbye to the dummies.
Hello, hallelujah. I don't remember how this song goes.
He's basically like singing a farewell to the dummies, like they're
Well,
leaving.
yeah, it's an old Hawaiian song, but I just don't remember. I don't know the words or nothing to it.
I don't remember either. Okay. And here we have the ghost who is observing everything, and the ghost does see the boat. And it actually does think that that's the castaways on the boat because I guess it's kind of dark, so it's kind of hard to tell. And of course, the castaways are watching to see what happens. And the boat blows up. Let me see if I can go back a little bit here.
Yeah, you can tell that stock footage right there.
Probably so, but it looks good.
Yeah. Now I got a question. If the professor was that concerned about the boat, why didn't they take everything out and examine it that closely there? Because the technology back then, then the size of that explosion there, they'd be able to find something the size of a hand grenade.
Right, but considering the ghost, if the ghost is trying to kill them, the ghost could have it booby trapped, where if you try to inspect it, it could explode.
I suppose.
There's the dummies, which means that could have been the castaways, but thank goodness it's not. And now we have the ghost thinking that the castaways are dead, reveals himself. And we have the magnificent. Do you recognize this guy at all, Rilla?
He looks familiar, but I can't think of a name.
His name is Richard Keel, and he lived in Fresno, California, which is where I'm from. And I saw him a couple of times out at restaurants. Very, very
Okay.
big man. He played the Twilight Zone episode To Serve Man. He played the Knamet, the alien. And but what he's mostly known for is he played Jaws in some James Bond movies like Moonraker and some others where he had silver teeth. And he was the bad guy and he fought against James Bond. He's an extremely tall man. He's like 7 foot something.
I got a question there. Did he actually have that actual accent, or is that something for the show?
Definitely a good point I was going to bring up. So what we have here is this guy here who is the ghost supposedly, or acting as the ghost, have a radio and he's talking with a Russian accent on the radio, and they definitely dubbed the voice over with another actor. And I'm guessing it was
Russian. I thought it was more Eastern European there, but I guess it's the Soviet area. They had everything up to Berlin, so I guess that could be.
And remember, if you'll recall, this is the second episode of Gilligan's Island involving Russians. The last one, if you remember, there was a ship and there was 2 Russians on it. So who knows? Maybe there's right. So maybe there's some reason why the Russians are interested in that island. Something we don't we don't know yet.
The natural gas springs.
Well, what he says here on the radio, he says, okay, the castaways are dead. But what he talks about is drilling oil offshore.
Well, yeah. The natural gas, there's probably oil around the island. And also think about it, if they're Russians, this is the time of the Cold War. Wouldn't that not be a perfect base like to set up literally right close to the mainland? Yeah, well, close to Hawaii, and depending which direction they drifted, they could be close to the mainland.
Right. Well, yes, they could use the island to build some sort of base, but during the Cold War, that's taking a big risk because if they get caught, that could be an act of war. It could be considered an act of war.
Well, they set up in Cuba. Well, we set up in Turkey, so.
Well, Cuba was a communist country, so they were allowed to do that. There wasn't anything we could say about it.
Yeah.
But this is supposedly Hawaiian waters, which means the territory belongs to us.
Oh, would they still be in Hawaiian waters? Because I thought that only extended 12 miles off Hawaii.
I don't know. I don't know if they've ever established how far the castaways are out.
Yeah. Well, if they're within 12 miles of Hawaii there, that make them, they could have easily gotten back to Hawaii. That could be a distance.
Yeah, like that boat they just had, for example. If that wasn't rigged, they could have. It would have been perfect to get back. It even had supplies and everything. If the supplies were real, now that we know that the ghost was trying to kill them, those supplies may have been poisoned, or at least the food. I wouldn't have trusted them. So now they realize that okay, now the ghost thinks that we're dead. So now we're gonna fight the ghost on his own grounds. And of course, Gilligan says, "A cemetery? No way, not me." He says, "No, no. All you have to do is round up 7 sheets." So of course, the castaways are gonna pose as ghosts, and they're gonna try to see if they can scare this ghost off the island. There it is, and that's what the Russian says on the radio for offshore oil rights.
Yeah.
And you can see how big his hand is compared to that radio. The guy was huge. So here we are, the castaways getting together and they getting their plans together. And of course, we got to be able. This is hilarious. It's like okay, and you can tell who the Howls are. They got to have those hats on. And I thought it was funny. So it's very easy to identify who is who.
Yeah.
Of course, Skipper and Gilligan, of course, posing as maybe they're supposed to be the ghosts of Skipper and Gilligan.
Yeah, one of them had a blue ribbon around them.
Yes, which is Marianne or Ginger, one of those.
Yeah, I get you. It's Ginger.
Look at the size of his hands with the radio.
Holy
Because
crap.
if you shook hands with him, your hand would be like a baby's hand in his. He was an extremely big man. And he says, by then the engine will be fixed and I come after you, he says.
Yeah. Then this was a very dark joke that he made there. He goes, corpses will be cold, beds still warm.
That's true. Yeah, because he's asking for the boat to come and get him. And they're telling him to stay that he can just stay the night. They're on the island in the huts. And that's where they're asking, you have a place to sleep? I sleep in huts. Corpse is cold, but bed's still warm. And he's laughing, but at the same time he's laughing, he starts to hear bushes rustling.
Yeah. Let's catch up on chat real quick.
Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know what this is, but what he goes UFO. Wow, nice information. I think that's the wrong chat there. We're not Doomcock's channel.
That's okay. I've made that mistake before.
And then Daniel says Jaws is in the show. No,
That's
the guy
right.
played in Jaws.
Yes, he played Jaws on in the James Bond movies. There was 2 or 3 of the movies.
There, then Oiler says Spider. What is the giant spider doing? Sleeping. Richard Keel is in this episode.
Absolutely.
Yep. And I heard rumors that a new Cold War with the Russians will happen. We're already in it. And the spider is in the
thanks to our current dipshit president. Yes, I agree. Maybe that's his whole intention is to get China on his side, so that the war will be between us, China, against Russia. Maybe that's what the president has in mind.
Well, no, it's more with the Carter Turkish pipeline that they're trying to build. That's the whole reason why we're in Syria and all that stuff.
I know, but he's really sucking up to China right now. You saw what happened in San Francisco.
Well,
but obviously we know that China's smarter than he is, because he'll get backstabbed at the last minute and he'll find out they never were friends. You can't trust the Chinese government.
Yeah, it's because of the bribes that they gave him, but that's a whole different song.
Yes.
Let's keep the Gilligan's Island.
Okay.
And other Greg says vote Spider Party in 24. All right, that's all the chat.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So we have the Russian who hears footsteps and bushes rustling, and he's still talking on the radio to his comrades. All others are dead. Must be new intruder on an island, he's thinking. And now we get this reveal here of the castaways ghosts. No, it's not very convincing, but apparently it's enough for him. And they're all moaning, of course, acting like ghosts.
Yeah, his own trick used against him.
Yes. And we have Skipper and Gilligan who are pretty much giving up, saying this isn't working. We're tired. We've been walking all day. Gilligan says he can't see, and Skipper says, well, it's because you have a sheet over your head. And then now Skipper sees the actual guy who was playing the ghost. And the two fall off the log. The rest of the castaways come out, and then the ghost sees them. He takes off his sheet. And when he sees it, he starts to fall for it. Now he's scared, and he's asking his comrades to come and get him.
He goes, never mind, I'll pick you up. Then he throws the
Right.
radio. Did he throw the radio? Did he actually throw the radio?
Let's see if we can try to catch that. And then he goes, never mind, he goes, we can come and pick me up. And then he says, never mind, I'll pick you up. Yes, he did.
Yeah. So how far can those radios actually work?
Well, apparently they have a boat somewhere there offshore because they are very short range.
Oh, okay, so they couldn't call Hawaii on that radio.
Correct. So we're assuming that there's a boat somewhere, and that's probably where he's heading. If I can catch that.
No, oh, your sound's on.
You got sound on that one?
Just a tiny bit, very faded. It's very faded.
I'm surprised. Usually there's no sound.
Yeah, and welcome DJ Play Nice.
Oh, DJ, hope you're doing well. So good to see you. We are just finishing up our first episode of Gilligan's Island for the night. And there goes the Russian, of course, swimming away in fear. And we have the next day with Skipper and Gilligan coming into the hut saying, guess what I found at the lagoon? Some of our clothes from the dummies. And Skipper says, good, Mary Ann can wash the seawater out of them. And Gilligan says, well, oh boy, am I going to be able to sleep tonight? Of course, he knows that he won't have to worry about the ghosts anymore. And of course, Skipper's having to repair the hammocks after they were broken.
Yeah. Now, I got a question. Do you think did Gilligan purposely put the turtle in there, or did he not realize it?
I think he didn't realize it. Basically, I know you guys can't, for those watching the chat, you can't tell from looking at this, but the shirt is moving. And Gilligan immediately says, oh no, the ghost has haunted your shirt, Skipper. And Skipper immediately says no, pulls up the shirt, and it's a turtle. You're too much. Because knowing Gilligan, he would probably take that turtle as a pet. And we got our closing song. This is a tale about castaways. Of course, Richard Keel as the ghost, but it does not give credit to whoever did the voice, or did the ADR, or the looping of the voice, or whatever you want to call it, the voiceover.
I'd like to find out. Maybe IMDb has it.
I did look it up, and it does say that he didn't do the voice, but it doesn't say who did. But I'm sure there's probably a way of finding it, maybe Wikipedia or something. And music by the great Gerald Fried. Absolutely a fantastic man. Remember, everybody did a lot of work for Star Trek, the original series. That's the guy that composed the music for the great battle scene on Amok Time where Kirk and Spock fought each other.
Yeah.
Among many other things.
This was Ghost Go-Go?
Yes, Ghost to Go-Go. And for younger people, if you're wondering why Go-Go, because back in the 1960s, that was the name of a club where people would go and hang out and drink beer and listen to music. And they had women dancing in hanging cages. So that's what a go-go was. You would go in and they'd have these little hanging cages with women in bikinis, usually scantily clad. And they would be dancing to the music.
Yeah.
So
Henry Corden was the Russian commander.
So that's the voice on the radio.
It could be. They're thinking someone thinks it might be Charles Maxwell.
Well, actually, if I spent more time, I could probably find it because not too long ago, this channel that I sub to, Rick 9G, he covers Gilligan's Island in depth, and he covered this episode, and he said the name of the actor, and he showed a picture of the actor, and if I had it, I would have pulled it up. That way you guys could see him. Some of you might even recognize him. It was a well-known guy at the time, but he was better at doing accents. So that's why they had him loop over the voice over Richard Keel's voice, which is understandable. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes actors, they look the part, but they don't sound the part. In the old days, they would dub over musicals, like when they made the old musical movies. Um, the actor or the actress, they would do the voice whenever they're talking in the movie, but as soon as they start singing, they would have somebody dub over them because they didn't have the voice for it, and that happened a lot in Hollywood. All right. So that is the completion of the first episode, Ghost a Go Go. And now we're going to be moving on into season 2, episode 28, Allergy Time. And this episode premiered on Thursday, March 31st, 1966. Gilligan moves to the other side of the island when the other castaways suddenly become allergic to him, reads the synopsis. All right, and let me get that ready. Oops, don't want to be tagged. Come on, there we go. Every time I load up the movie, it automatically by default starts playing. I got to hurry and stop it before I get a copyright strike. And let me get the subtitles ready really quick. Make this fast. Oops, a little too
there is
far
a blooper
there.
in this episode. I'll try to point it out.
Oh, very cool. If you cannot find it, let me know and I'll try to help you spot it. And we have our introduction with our faithful heroes. And the introduction of our cast.
Yeah, but before we get started, let's catch up on the chat here. He
Good
said,
idea. Thank you.
Greg said, sneaky Russians. Those bloody sneaky Russians. He goes, Ghost. And DJ says, gotta roll out. Thanks for hosting. Not a problem. Says DJ. Good night, DJ.
Good night, DJ. Play nice. Have a great night and take care.
Y'all be nice. Have fun. Take care of your crew and rock.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Daniel says, did Richard Kill character run away or will he be in the next episode? He swam away.
Yes, he ran and then swam, and he will not be back in the next episode. That's it for his character.
Yeah, so Gilligan's Island is made by CBS. Does that mean that Gilligan's Island happened in the Star Trek universe? I guess so.
Oh, very possible. Just 300 years later, right?
Earlier, yeah.
Well, yeah, Gilligan's Island was earlier and Star Trek was later. Yes. Thank you.
Well, I thought, was it the original one made by Paramount or is Paramount buy it?
Make it the original what? Star Trek?
Yeah.
It was made by Desilu, and then Paramount bought Desilu.
Okay. CBS bought Paramount, I take it?
It's like a partner company.
Okay.
Because there was a point where Paramount and CBS split, and they were two separate companies, and then just recently they merged again under a company called Viacom. Viacom. It's a big company that was in charge of CBS for a long time. It may still be. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, no, Viacom is huge because I remember when I had DirecTV at one point, I lost a lot of channels because the DirecTV and Viacom were having a pissing match.
That happens all the time. Greed, sheer greed. They make a lot of, even though that's why I don't pay for satellite or cable TV, because they gouge you. You end up paying over $100, and the majority of those channels you don't watch. And that's how those channels survive. Like, for example, the home shopping networks. If they went by ratings, they would never have lasted. They would have been gone decades ago. But crappy channels like that, and no offense if you're a home shopper, but I'm not. But the problem with those channels is they feed like a leech off other channels that people do watch, which I never thought was appealing, and I won't do it. That's why I have not paid for cable or satellite TV since it's been over 20 years. Late 90s, I think was the last time I paid for cable or satellite.
Yeah, I can't afford cable or satellite.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I know somebody. In fact, there's and the people that come on here. Some of our good friends who, they'll tell you, they'll say, "Yeah, I'm paying for the channels right now, and I never watch any of them. I know it's a waste of money, but I never get around to canceling." And I'm thinking, "Oh my goodness!" It's like, "Oh hell no, I wouldn't let that go for 1 month."
Yeah. And welcome, DVB. He
Hello,
says, "Hey,
DVB.
Pop."
Good to see you there. Hey, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us. We're having a great time. We're just now getting into our second episode of Gilligan's Island. And it starts off, of course, with this funny look on Skipper's face because he's sneezing. And he seems to be having a sneezing fit repeatedly. And the skipper comes in, and the skipper already has his book, which means this has apparently been going on since before the episode started. And he's asking the skipper if there's anything he's eaten that maybe perhaps he could be allergic to. And Professor's trying to figure out exactly what's going on. And now we have the next day where they're deciding to build a ping pong table. And they're saying maybe that'll take Skipper's mind off the idea or off what's going on with the sneezing. And here's where the blooper is I'm going to spot. All right. Can you guys see my arrow?
Yes.
Right there. Can you see where it's pointing? That's a studio light.
Oh,
I'm
that's not
moving
the
it
mistake. I know, but I didn't even see that.
right. Now watch. I'm going to hit. Of course, I'll probably get a copyright warning from that stupid channel in Louisiana. But I'm going to let a few frames move, and you'll see that talker. If you didn't know better, it almost looks like a UFO in the background, just hovering in one place. But it's actually a studio light. So I'll hit a few frames. But as you can see, it's not a tree. It's silver. You can see light reflecting off of it. But it's up on the wall there in the background. And it's not a very often that you spot studio lights in the scene. But I guess they figured nobody would see it because of that palm tree or coconut tree or whatever that is in front of it.
Yeah.
So now they're saying they're building the ping pong table, and the girls are putting together a net. And here we have Gilligan. And Gilligan's all excited. He can't wait to play ping pong as well.
Yeah, that
And
light's
Gilligan,
that light's in there in that background for a long time there. That's not one of
oh, it
those
is.
glad you miss it.
Exactly. Yeah, this scene's it's fairly long. And that light's back there, it's pretty obvious. So I'm guessing they didn't notice it when they shot this or when they edited it. So Skipper tells Gilligan to grab that bamboo and start making basically a frame for around the ping pong table. And Gilligan says, "Well, you don't seem to be scratching as bad as you were. Maybe you're feeling better now." And he says, "Maybe a Skipper has fleas." And of course, Skipper doesn't like that. And then Professor says, "Well, you do have to admit, Skipper, you seem to be, Professor says, you do have to admit, Skipper, you are feeling better than you were last night. Maybe something has changed. Maybe he's fully recovered." But then suddenly Skipper starts sneezing again. So no, that's not it. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, that hammer accidentally smashes Skipper's hand, of course.
no, Gilligan did that on purpose. Then he
Oh,
goes,
that's
"It's
right.
not you for reason, did you?"
Right, because Skipper was sneezing, so Gilligan hit him with the hammer. There it is. At least it stopped you from sneezing. And now Professor apparently has his doctor bag, and he just did a physical on Skipper. And he says apparently there's no evidence of tropical disease. So naturally, Skipper's relieved of that. And this is where Professor tells him maybe you have communis allergitis. And I don't know if that's real or not. But he says basically I knew it. I knew it. Skipper is like lamenting, "Oh, Professor, now straightforward answer. How long do I have to live?" And of course, Professor says about 40 years. And he says, 40 years? He says, yes, you're just basically allergic to things on the island. It's just allergies, pretty much. So here we cut to the hut of the Howls, and they are also trying to figure out what the skipper may be allergic to, and they're going through all their things to see maybe if it's something they have. And the girls are doing the same thing. Of course, they're going through the same thing, through their things, including their perfumes and any aromatics like that, thinking that may be what is triggering Skipper's allergies. And we have the professor running an experiment here on different things, and he tells Skipper, "Well, everything I've ran through the test, you don't seem to be allergic to, so that's none of these items." And Gilligan brings up a duck's egg and says maybe it's this egg. And of course, Skipper says, "No, it can't be a duck egg. I'm not allergic to a duck." And then Professor says, "Give me that egg." And then he tells Gilligan to walk back away from them by himself, which he does. And when he does, Skipper immediately starts to feel better. And Gilligan walks back up, and Skipper starts sneezing again. And and Professor tells him to walk back there again, which he does. Skipper feels better. And then now he realizes that Skipper is allergic to Gilligan. And Skipper sneezes one big sneeze and blows over the table.
Yeah.
So now we have Gilligan and Professor asking, "Did you bathe with that special soap that I made? It's basically anti-allergic. Anti-allergic. I scrubbed so hard, I think I scrubbed a couple of freckles off," says Gilligan. And here's where Skipper says, "You really think I'm allergic to him?" And Professor says it is possible.
It wouldn't be the strangest thing.
And of course, Skipper says it's ridiculous. Right. Well, and Skipper says, it's impossible. We've been buddies for a long time. And I know from experience, it hasn't happened to me, but I've known people who did not have allergic reactions to things. And then suddenly overnight, they started having allergic. So your body could change any time. So it is possible that you can be allergic to something that you previously were not. So Skipper comes in to see if he's still going to sneeze, and he starts smelling Gilligan. And
Yeah, I
unfortunately,
feel
he starts
bad.
sneezing again.
I feel kind of bad for the skipper there, having to do all these fake sneezes throughout
I guess
the
it
whole
would
thing.
get to you after a while, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would get to you after a while. Maybe give you a sore throat or something. So Skipper sneezes and blows the door open.
It'd make you lightheaded after a while.
Oh, yeah. Do you really think this is all in my mind, Professor? So now after the professor tells Skipper that maybe the allergy isn't a physical thing, maybe it's a mental thing.
Yeah.
So what he's going to do is...
We missed one of the greatest jokes there. There he goes. I don't hate the guy. I mean, I want to kill him sometimes, but I don't hate the guy.
Like coughing.
All right, before we do this scene here, Oiler Greg says cable's not worth it. That's true. He goes, yeah. Yep. DVB says, yeah, with cable, all of the channels get a piece of the financial pie, whether or not anyone actually watches.
Which is ridiculous. Like, it should be illegal.
Like the QVC and the Antique Roadhouse show or whatever.
All that crap.
Says, antiquated concept there, DVB. And despite all of its issues, I take YouTube over cable any day. I'll take Soap Today, Look Movie 2, 123 Movies, or M3UHD any day. He goes, yeah, right.
Exactly. I'll pay for internet and then just enjoy what's on internet for free. I'm not going to pay for any of that crap. No offense to people that do watch that stuff, but it's not my bag. I'm not going to throw away money on garbage. Especially garbage, especially if I, $150 for a cable package and I only watch 5 of the stations and the rest of them are just leeching off of it. And forget that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go
ahead. Greg says, it's a UFO in the Gilligan's universe. Who knows? Maybe it's a saucer section of the Enterprise that is going to pick up that one guy in Kansas. Was it Kansas? Missouri? You know which episode I'm talking about. Was it yesterday's Enterprise? I
Where
believe.
we picks up the pilot inside the ship. I mean, in the
Yeah,
airplane.
yeah.
Right. Yep. You never know, right?
Or yeah, then this BBB says, "Thank you, pops. Hope you've been well too."
Thank you, sir. I am, or ma'am, I apologize. I need to stop genderizing people when I'm not sure. I'm not going to say the word pronoun, but when I'm not sure which your gender is, I apologize if I make a mistake on it. Please feel free to correct me.
Yeah. DVB says, "Communis aliturgis." That's funny. I forgot about that. He goes, "No, just
Right.
give me straight, Professor. How long do I get? About another 40 years." Oh, wait, 40 years? Yeah, it's just a fancy name
Right.
for allergy. All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. So we have the professor blindfolded the skipper in the hut. And what they're going to do is they're going to have each of the castaways walk past him to see maybe if they're one of the ones triggering him or is it Gilligan. So it's basically a blind test. And what Professor tells them now, make sure we don't want Gilligan to know who is who. So when you walk in there, stand there for a moment and then walk away, but do not say anything. Of course, Mrs. Howell's having a wonderful time. They're talking about polo. And of course, the girls say, "How can I possibly make mistaken for a boy when that's not the point?"
Yeah.
And
Well,
Marianne
that's,
tells Ginger to take off her earrings because Gilligan seldom wears bells that tinkle. So I go
yeah.
ahead, Gorilla.
Oh, and DVB says I'm a dude, man.
All right, I'll remember that, DVP. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
Folks, file in one at a time. Pause a few seconds. Miss Reed tells him, pause a few seconds, but don't say anything. I don't think he recognized me, says Lucky. Of course, it's too late.
And right
with the
there wrecked the
blindfold.
whole experiment. Right there, that wrecked the whole experiment right there.
Of course, immediately, Mrs. Howell couldn't keep her mouth shut. And Mr. Howell is hushing her as the professor rushes them out the door. And now we have Ginger come in, of course, and now she's going to find out if she's allergic to, or if Skipper's allergic to her. And of course, she immediately does that and starts whispering, "Guess who?" And of course, ruins that one again. And Professor says, "Ginger, stop that." But at least Skipper's not sneezing yet, so we know
Well,
it's
see,
not
that's when
them.
I had the owls come back in.
That's true. Start all over again, right? And this time, don't say anything. And of course, they can't say it, but he could have said, "I put a blindfold on Skipper. I'll put a gag on you."
No, Ginger might like that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And poor Marianne, she comes in, of course, and she accidentally speaks up to him and says, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he walks out, and then Gilligan comes in, and of course, immediately Skipper starts sneezing again. Gesundheit. And so we have later on that night,
I think that's the scene. Oh, there's a scene where Gilligan puts a board in front of the candle that I really want to
yes,
stop the
yes,
sneeze. When we
all
get
right,
to
so
that's what I wanted to point out something out.
gotcha. So Skipper, it keeps sneezing, and every time he does, he blows the candle out. And when he does, Gilligan has a match there ready to relight it again. And they're talking about playing checkers. And Skipper's okay for a few seconds, but then he continually sneezes.
Yeah. Welcome
And
back,
now,
people.
APVP. So here's where Gilligan is basically packing because he's going to go live with the professor because he knows that he's causing Skipper to sneeze. So that's why you see Gilligan packing. And here we have Skipper getting ready to sneeze again. I'm going to try to catch the piece with the wood. And he sneezes again and blows out the candle. And Gilligan continues packing his stuff, including that's a homemade checkerboard. And here we go. You ready for this,
Yep.
gorilla? This is it.
Yeah. There's
So
supposed
what
to be
about it?
there's a face coming in to blow out the candle. You'll be able to see a face.
Left, right, up, down.
I'm not sure. I just see.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. Did you catch that?
Yep. Let me see if I can freeze it. I'm surprised it's that basic that they did it that way. There
Right
it is.
there.
You can see it.
There, right
the
there
right.
on the side of the screen.
Yeah, on your right hand side. In fact, here's my cursor right here on the side. What's interesting, there's so many ways they could have done this without having to do that. It's like, yeah, it is somebody blowing from off screen, but there's so many ways they could have done that. But
I suppose they didn't figure they'd catch someone in the shot, or it's so fast it's a blink and you miss it.
exactly right, and they didn't bother to shoot again. But I think you're right. I don't think they thought that we're going to see it, or that it showed up on camera. And Gilligan relights the candle. And Gilligan's got his bag packed and heading over to the professor's. And he tells Skipper, well, I'll see you again. After all, we're on the same island. But then he says he forgets something. He comes back in. And Skipper starts sneezing again. And he says, I forgot my spy ring with the secret. Of course, he's got his little boy's toys. And finally, Skipper goes to get some fresh water. Gilligan comes back, causing Skipper to sneeze again and spill the water. And he says, Gilligan, what did you forget this time? And Gilligan, of course, says, I forgot. And he chases him out. And now we have Gilligan in the professor's hut sleeping next to him on the floor.
Yeah, it's the brand new pajamas.
Yeah, they're in good condition. Nothing fades around her, even their clothes.
Never seen them before. We've never seen them before.
No, we have not. You're right. But it's not very often we've seen the professor in bed, I guess. I think we've seen where he's been woken up at night, but I don't know if they've ever shown him like this. Definitely not with the pajamas. So, unfortunately, Gilligan keeps talking to him. Professor's trying to sleep, but Gilligan says he can't sleep because he's used to the skipper snoring all the time. And then what happens is the professor starts sneezing, just like the skipper, and Gilligan realizes that he must be allergic to him too, so Gilligan leaves the hut. And now we show the Howell hut. And, of course, Mr. Howell is mumbling while he's asleep, talking about money and transactions.
Yeah.
And Gilligan is talking in between the bed. Go ahead.
I got a question. Why is he sleeping on the floor when he has his own room there from My Fair Gilligan?
Yeah, you're right. Notice how the huts are always changing, right? Depending on the episode.
Yeah. Well, let's catch up on chat here.
Thank you.
Here. Oh wait! Oh shit! I forgot to click.
And of course, Gilligan saying everybody's allergic except for his father. He used to call him give him hives.
Yeah. DVB says, "LOL, promise." Then PvP says, "Sorry, back so late. Running errands took a bit longer than I thought."
Well, no problem. Yeah, PvP, good to see you again.
All right, then you say hi to Jim and Herc there. Hi. He goes, "That's hilarious, a guy's face." That's like the third time we've caught someone in the shots, isn't it?
Yep, at least it's interesting, yeah. But that's what I like about examining these frame by frame. It's easy to catch that stuff that normally you wouldn't.
Alrighty. DVB says, "I don't buy into the whole identity stuff. Everyone's born as they are, but these days some people want to cheat rather than playing the cards they are dealt with." Yep.
Well, they just want attention is what it is. They want attention. You can always tell when there's somebody that wants attention. You know, it's the proverbial person that stands in the middle of the room. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Forget about everybody else. Just look at me, everybody. Pat me on the back. Tell me how wonderful I am. That's what it is. It's that mindset, and it's terrible.
Yeah. So Skipper has the allergies. Yeah, to Gilligan. The DVB says, my two pair identifies as three of a kind. Get the hell out of here, lol. Know what I mean? Hey, hey,
Yes.
all right, all right. I hate to bring this up, you guys, but I'm actually a rich man trapped in a poor man's body. So any help you guys
There
can
you
get,
go.
help me to rectify this, and so I can feel myself again would be greatly appreciated. All right,
Right.
oh, all right. I'm being an
Same
ass.
here. Same here. I identify as a millionaire, but I can't seem to be pulling it off to where it's believable.
Yeah. And PvP says, allergies are awful. Had them as a kid. Was allergic to grass pollens. Went once a week and had to have an allergy shot in the arm to boost immune system and cured all my allergies. Oh, I just
Oh,
had to
that's no
suffer
fun.
through it. I just had to suffer through it. They finally shut down our elevator. They could have done this about 30 years ago, but we'd always have this high corn dust problem in the air around harvest time. I'd always get this really bad cough every year from the corn dust. I always had to walk right past, especially in my later teen years. I had to walk past it to go out to work
Well, wait a minute. What's the connection with the elevators?
because when they're dumping all the corn, it all spews up and they don't have a proper filter system on it. And they weren't going to pay to have one on. Then finally they got
Oh,
shut down. So all the corn dust was
so
just
you're talking
spreading
about?
all over town.
Oh, so the factory got closed down?
No, well, the elevators is where we store it until it goes to the factory. See,
Oh, okay,
the
gotcha.
farmers sell their corn to the co-op there, and then they have them in these big old elevators in town or silos or what?
Industrial
What?
elevators.
Yeah. Well, we call it the elevator, but it's really like silos, pretty much.
Right, because when
And
you
then
first
the
said elevators,
co-ops.
I thought you meant the kind people are ride in.
No, the silos and stuff around town. I don't know
Gotcha.
why they call them elevators. I guess it's because it goes up an elevator that gets dumped into the thing there. But yeah, they got
Possibly.
shut down.
Well, I'm sure if it was affecting everybody like that.
No, it's just affecting me. I just was allergic to it. And DBB says, yeah,
Oh,
so true.
okay.
So sucking attention seekers that
Yes, yes,
PV,
attention whores.
PvP and DVP are both laughing at me. All right. PvP says, oh, gorilla meats like grain elevators equal silos. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Those fine particles, you got to watch out for them. So now we have Gilligan. Unfortunately, now since remember now he's used to snoring, so he's not able to sleep. So he keeps waking up Mr. Howell, and Mr. Howell says, "Lubby talks in her sleep, but I can't understand what she says." And of course, she denies it. Says, "No, I don't." She's at least I don't walk in my sleep. So he gets
Oh
them
yeah.
two arguing at each other.
Yeah, yeah, they start fighting. And then all of a sudden they start. You notice that none of them actually start seasoning until they actually have to talk to Gilligan.
Of course, right when the script calls for it. Au revoir, will you? And he says, of course, what does that mean? Au revoir, my dear boy, is French for go to sleep at a hotel, she says. Of course, that's not what it means, but that's what she means. They've had about enough of the sneezing. So now we have Gilligan over in the girls' hut, and they have a wall there separating them. And of course, Gilligan still can't sleep, and he asks them, "Are you still awake?" And they said yes. He said, "I don't know. I think the whole world's allergic to me." And the girls say, "Well, Ginger and I aren't sleeping, are we?" And he says, "No." And then as he does that, of course, first Ginger and then Marianne starts sneezing, and Gilligan realizes, and he says goodbye to them and heads out for the night and realizes that he can't sleep with anybody. And now we cut to the next day, and Skipper realizes that he's feeling wonderful, and Mr. Howell says he is too. And they say, well, they haven't seen Gilligan around, so that must be why they're feeling better. Come to think of it, of course, I wonder where Gilligan is. And Marianne says, look at this note I found. And it's a note from Gilligan saying that he moved to the other side of the island so they wouldn't be an issue to them.
Yeah, I think this is the first time no one mentions that that no one mentions the spelling on a note from Gilligan.
You're right, because it would be very poorly spelled, obviously. So first they say that it's wonderful that he's on the other side of the island. They feel much better. Then they realize that's not right. We miss him. We need to go get our buddy back. So Skipper says, "What are we standing here for? Let's go search and look for him." And now they're searching, like Mr. Howell says, they're searching with their noses. They figure if they start sneezing,
Yeah. Oh,
they know they found Gilligan.
yeah. Then here, Ginger and Marianne are gonna split up here, and Ginger's like, yeah, through the crowd, and sometimes even two. Oh, here it is.
Right. In fact, because Ginger starts
Yep.
sneezing, so they
Well,
realize that Gilligan must be inside that cave.
well, she said, and sometimes two is a crowd. Yeah,
Right.
like, you get it, you get it. It's a masturbation joke.
Right. And Ginger tells Gilligan that she misses him. Now she does keep scratching and sneezing, but she's trying to talk Gilligan into coming back to the. I feel like get ready to say the village, but back to the huts. I guess it might be considered a village. I don't know. And she's trying to
Well,
sweet talk him and say, "When I stand next to you," and she's trying to say all these nice things, but of course she keeps sneezing and scratching. Go ahead, Gorilla.
oh no. Well, a village. I don't think it'd be considered a village. It's even a village
Community?
is bigger than that.
It is. That's why I was thinking because it's so small. Habitat, community. I don't know. Town, little town. So now they try to convince him, but of course Skipper sneezes and blows the tree over.
I'm guessing they just had that pre-sod.
Of course. And it's probably not even a real tree. Because that would be very heavy. And now the professor informs them that he has developed a vaccine for the Gilligan allergy. And now they're
Now,
excited about it. That's wonderful. They're thinking, let's go get Gilligan. Go ahead.
yeah. Now it's kind of nice that you can develop a vaccine for something you doesn't even know what's causing the allergy.
That's true. Excuse me a moment. Gotta blow my nose.
Mm. So anyhow, let's see. PvP says DVB. Well, doing not too bad, but have to go in for a biopsy, so a bit worried. Won't burn the chat with any details. Hope you are well. Well, I hope that goes well for you, PvP. And he says, I'm amazed that the clothes are still proceeding after being stranded on the island for several years. Yep. Well, durable, this back quality mattered. And he says, wow, Ginger bending over. Oh, yeah, you would like that. You know, and
I think that honestly, to give them the benefit of the doubt, is I think one thing that helps the clothes keep their color is when they hang them up to dry, they turn them inside out because the sun is what fades clothing. I found out the hard way. I used to have this little house and I had a washing machine with no dryer, and I was like a fool hanging clothes out there, and they were fading left and right. And I remember a teacher telling me, "Well," and I had to keep buying clothes, and the teacher said, "Well, turn them inside out." I thought, "Well, that's a good idea," and it worked. So, but of course, I don't think it's going to make a shirt last 15 years. But I thought I'd add that.
yeah, all right.
Sorry.
So, Greg says 60 clothes are very durable. DVB says, well, I hope you get through it successfully, PvP. And Joel Greg says, awesome vaccine. Yeah, PvP says, thanks. They said it may be nothing, but said better get it checked to be safe. Now, that needle there, if they stuck that in anybody, that would drain out that'd cause a massive hole in an artery.
And Gorilla is referring to the needle in the professor's hand, which it kind of reminds you of a caulking gun. Yeah, it is rather
Probably.
big. So that's like a homemade needle there.
Yeah.
And of course, they're all
That's not,
sneezing. And
that,
then
not,
that's when the professor. Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's not, that's our, because the E hits an artery there. That's not going to close up in time for, like our needles do now. for the bleeding to stop at all. They're gonna bleed out.
Yeah, I think it's done for comedic effect.
Oh yeah, yeah. And
So,
there's no way you can make needles on that island the size they should be.
and of course, and then still hoping they're sanitary. So hopefully they've got a way of sanitizing everything. I guess maybe with fire.
Uh,
So Gilligan when he sees the size of the needle, he's very hesitant. But then the professor says the needle's not for you, for Gilligan. It's for everybody else. Which is what I
yeah.
was thinking when they first said that they were allergic to Gilligan. I was thinking, or when Skipper said he had a vaccine. That's what I was thinking too. Is that means the other people have to take the shot, not Gilligan, because you don't give the person causing uh, the the allergic reaction the shot. You give it to the people who are having the reaction that are actually sneezing. 2 shots
And
a week, perhaps 3. That does not sound like fun.
yeah,
And they ask how long, and he says, "Well, as long as we're on the island and allergic to Gilligan, that could take years," says the professor. "Well, we better stop drinking, or we'll start sprinkling," she says. Of course,
hmm
now they're holding their nose, and Skipper doesn't seem to like that idea too well. And we have, meanwhile, later that evening,
Hey, wait! Did
Skipper
you catch that?
with
That was a
part.
Howl's exterior shot. That's a
Yes,
Howl's
yes,
exterior.
and I noticed that the door. You'll notice that it's like a double door. That's how you can tell it's a house is a double door with the orange. But then when it cuts to the Skipper, look, there's a blanket in front of the door, a single door, that is. So
Yeah,
yes, I totally agree. It's a different hut because they're just throwing footage in there, obviously, without having to reshoot. In fact, that's a scene from earlier in the episode.
yeah. I think
Because
that
if I go
happens
back to the
twice in
episode
that.
where, yeah, if I go back to where the scene where Gilligan is sleeping in the house hut, that's how they first established it was outside. Skipper is pacing back and forth, and he sees this picture on the wall. That's a very famous picture. Let me see if I can dig it up. Bear with me, guys. But that's a very famous picture. It's a publicity photo that all the actors posed for the show itself. And
Yeah.
on my book, I have Gilligan's Island. I'm going through my books. I've got a stack of books.
Yeah. Well, you're
There
looking.
you are.
TVB says that's a horror movie needle. The professor has there. Yep. Needle draining blood. Professor want to be Dracula. Yeah. And TVB says allergic to Gilligan. That kind of makes sense. LOL. Yeah. And other Greg says magic doors. All right, we're all caught
Magic
up.
doors. Yeah, exactly. Magic doors. All right. Let's see here. I know I can find it here without taking up too much time.
Oh, you got it in your hand.
I have the book in my hand, and it's like the Lost in Space book. It's got pictures scattered all throughout it, publicity photos. I'm going to be covering. I'm going to be doing a stream here too that covers that. A lot of the behind the scenes stuff. It's kind of like I do Lost in Space, so I will be covering that as well. Move my stuff out of the way.
All right.
How are we doing on the chat?
We're
Are
all
we doing
caught
okay?
up. We're all caught up.
That's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah, and I got
Was that?
no control over the thing, so
All right. Let's see if I can catch this without. Of course, it's a horrible shot, and I got a flash that is actually on the picture, but hopefully it's enough where I can kind of give you guys the idea, because this picture I'm going to be showing here. I want you guys to recognize it because they actually posed for a few pictures at this location, and I'm pulling it up for a reason. There we go. Okay, so Skipper is sneezing in the hut, and he realizes he misses Gilligan. When he sees the picture, he walks over and he's crying because he misses his little buddy. And as he sneezes, he covers the picture so he doesn't sneeze on the picture. And then he comes up with an idea. He immediately rushes over to the professor's hut and wakes him up. What is it, Skipper? I want my Gilligan shots right now, he says. So they've decided they don't care how big the needle is. He wants his shots now.
Yeah. Now watch how he falls when he does fall.
You mean like that?
Yeah, he uses his arms to stop his fall.
Yeah. I guess they could have put some padding down there, but they didn't spend a lot of time when they were filming this. So Skipper passes out just by the thought of getting that needle as soon as he sees the professor holding it up. Now we have his reaction, and he gives the Skipper his shot while he's unconscious, which is maybe perhaps a good thing. And now they're back to playing checkers. Skipper's not sneezing because he got the shot. And we have the other castaways in the window that are watching the whole thing, but they have not had their shot yet. And they're watching and they're thinking about how much they miss hanging out with Gilligan. By the way, Skipper, thanks for taking those shots, says Gilligan. It was my pleasure. And of course, usually they're getting along rather well this time. Until Gilligan wins, of course, and takes all of Skipper's pieces.
Well, he still has 2 on the board, 3 on the board.
I suppose, but that still means I don't think he's going to last very long.
Yeah.
And now we get a voiceover. Lovey saying, "Oh, Thurston, it hurts." So the other castaways decide to get the shots as well.
Yeah.
And that's why they're rubbing their arms.
The Gilligan's like, "Hey, I found out this is papaya oil. See, it makes me sneeze too. Achoo.
Right, it was some shampoo that Gilligan made out of papaya oil. He realizes that's what's been making them sneeze the whole time.
Which he must have a high tolerance to, considering how much he's used of it.
Yep, because he doesn't affect him until now. And he shows everybody, look, and then he smells it, and he starts sneezing as well. So that's what we get that look from Skipper saying, "Oh, of course."
I thought he'd look at the camera and do that.
Normally he does, but in that case, he looked at Gilligan, of course. And I'm going to show this picture really quick. If I can make it fast enough, everybody. I have to basically take a picture with my phone and then send it to my computer, open up the email, and then show it to you guys. And of course, the hard drive has to wake up because it hasn't moved. Bear with me, everybody.
Yeah, so we're all caught up on
How are we
chat.
doing on the
too.
chat?
We're all caught up and all that, so.
Gotcha.
Well, man, he had to just figure that out right after they all got their
All right,
shots.
let me pull this up here.
But if you guys think that needle's big,
Exactly right.
wait a couple minutes. Stick around for a couple minutes here once we get this picture uploaded here. And
Yes, I got it right now. I'm going to be sharing it with you.
Yeah, so.
And here is the photo I'm talking about. This is a publicity photo that the cast took while filming the show. And what I want to point out, that something the cast, because I didn't notice this until I saw an interview with the cast. But basically, this is a publicity photo, and they all took different poses. So this day here, when they took these photos, is where we got that picture that was on the wall of Skipper and Gilligan together.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, if you look really close at the picture, you'll notice those are pine trees in the background, and there's no way that pine trees would be growing on the island. So that's how we could tell this was not filmed. This picture was not taken in the same location where the lagoon was, because the lagoon had palm trees and tropical plants, not pine trees. Sorry, I had to get that right.
Yeah, and how come we can't get Marianne and Ginger in bikinis like that? That's false advertisement. I'm gonna be filing a lawsuit right there.
Yeah, I know it exactly right. I think maybe it was a little too much. They thought because like Lost in Space, it was considered a family show, so they weren't going to go too far.
Yeah. Yeah. TV says,
Okay.
here. The other Greg gives us a thumbs up with the beer. Then DVB says, just wait for Pops to reboot Windows 98. And DVB says, just kidding, Pops.
Yeah, I know, right?
Windows 98 actually wasn't that bad, though.
And of course, Skipper's kidding, and he says, "Now we're going to kill you." They're all upset because they had to get those shots because of Gilligan.
Yeah. Then
And then here we
you
have
go.
the professor. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, here you go, guys. You thought that other needle was big. Look what Skipper brings.
Right. So
Yeah.
Right. Well, the professor brings it out and said, "Here you go, Skipper."
No, Skipper gave it to him. Because Skipper made it.
And but they're both laughing, so they figured that's right. Skipper made it. So they're laughing and they so which tells us it's going to be a practical joke. Skipper hides it under that pink blanket or towel or whatever that is. And they're telling Gilligan, and they call Gilligan over and say, "Hey, little buddy, the professor is very concerned." Hold on.
Yeah. So basically, it goes with all that papaya seed oil in here. You're gonna have to get a vaccine shot yourself. Self there. They pull that big old needle on him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they said he absorbed so much through his scalp, right?
Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, you guys took a few shots for you. You can take one." This thing out. And the professor looks like, Angar! And right in the pooper.
Right. And that's kind of nice that they show the professor with a sense of humor like that. I like that smile on his face. He's usually playing the straight man most of the time. And of course, as he's teasing Gilligan with that big old fake needle, Gilligan accidentally backs into the first needle, the allergy shot, and of course, it's sticking out of his butt.
Yeah,
And
that thing
Professor
must
pulls
have
it out.
like a retractable needle on it or something that it goes inside the cylinder when it gets pressed against the skin. They must put a retractable thing on it. And welcome, Scurvy. Welcome. He says, "What's up, fruitcakes?"
Hey, Lemon Pie, good to see you. Hope you're doing well tonight. We are just coming to the end of the second episode of Gilligan's Island, but I'm glad you could join us.
Yeah, PvP says they should have spun off Marietta and Ginger into a more adult series. Hey, you're forgetting Rule 34 of the internet there, PvP. If it's been made, there's a porn parody of it. And other Greg says
there is.
Yeah. Other Greg says spies in 60s London. Pleasant.
I'm not really sure what that means, but I guess he's asking PvP. And then we come to the conclusion of our second episode of Gilligan's Island, which is Allergy Time. And before I ask Gorilla his opinion on these episodes, I want to remind everybody there is a poll in the chat. If you get a chance, please feel free to give us your opinion. Hush up, pooches. Of course, now they start. If you feel like it, give us your opinion on what you think about this episode. The poll actually asks which episode did you prefer the most. So give us your rating if you'd like, and let us know what you think. And then I'll end the poll and I'll share the results with everybody. But first, I'll ask Gorilla. Gorilla, what did you think? What is your favorite episode between the two?
The ghost one, because you gotta love the old ghost trope there, even though they didn't believe in all that. You get the boat, which I thought they could have probably searched for the explosive, and all that. But it's so fun. You get the Russian antagonist there. Well, you said they're Russian, but I guess so. I guess I'm assuming they're. I'll go with that. There, even the crowd said Russian commander. So trope, all looking for the oil rights and stuff. It's humorous, and then they use his own trick against him. There, it's pretty humorous. There, a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's true. And would you like to tell us about your channel?
Well, right now I'm actually gonna be starting something new here pretty soon. I'm not sure when I'll be able to have once I get some time to do it. There,
Uh-huh.
where I'm gonna start doing deep dives into one of my favorite series by Garth Nix there, and go full analytics on that because there's a lot of different stuff to analyze in the books, and stuff. But they're gonna be short videos. It could be anywhere from a couple minutes to 10 minutes. I'm gonna do them pre-recorded instead of live. But that's once I start having time to do stuff like that. And otherwise, I do 2 watch parties a week right now. Justified and on Sundays we do a watch party. We're on our 6 weeks of Christmas, and the next watch party on Sunday is the Nightmare Before Christmas. I
Oh
do
yeah.
a Walters review on Fridays, and this Friday it is The Awakening. Oh, that's gonna be a lovely episode. And there won't be a review on Saturday because I have a family get together and stuff. So, but there will be something next week. Jim just hasn't given me the title yet. He hasn't picked one out yet.
Very cool. Well, you got. I mean, you can't just leave us hanging. You got to tell us who is Garth Nix. Is that what you said? And what's the name of the show?
Garth Nix is an author. He wrote the Sabriel series, but he wrote also a 7 book series called The Keys to the Kingdom,
Uh huh.
where each where this it's basically they got this art person they call the architect that created like this house thing that it consists of a lower, middle, and upper house. These things called the incompatible gardens, the
Uh
Great
huh.
Maze, and the border sea and the far reaches and all that. It's supposed to represent the creation there, but also like the secondary realms, like all our planets and everything. It
Uh huh.
follows a series of the they made a will that's broken up there, which I'm guessing each part of the will is supposed to represent the 7 virtues, and each of the trustees is actually represents one of the 7 deadly sins. Like Monday was sloth, Tuesday was greed, Wednesday was gluttony and stuff like that. There's
Cool.
all this mythical stuff into it, and it's this kid that was actually supposed to be dead gets a hold of one of the keys there, and he actually gets to go in the house. And he starts fighting, ends up fighting all the trustees to gain control of the keys, and he becomes more and more powerful. There, leading to the final showdown in the last thing where he actually becomes the architect in the
Very
last bit.
nice.
Spoilers, but there's
Okay,
all
so
kinds of breakdown on it.
to make this clear, you're not reviewing a TV show or movie. You're reviewing books.
Yeah, well, it's not really a book. It's gonna be like analyzing certain aspects of the book.
Right.
Like,
No, yeah, yeah, that's totally fine. That sounds great. So everybody make sure you check that out. It sounds very interesting.
yeah, I
And
just
I'll be
don't
looking
know.
forward to that. And I'll go ahead.
I just don't know how long it'll I don't know when I'll be able to do it. It's just got to find the time.
Oh, I understand that. I understand that. Okay, but it does sound interesting. I'll check that out, Gorilla. I appreciate that. Thank you. And also thank you for the help tonight with the chat. I really do
Not a problem.
appreciate it. I mean, seriously, without you, I know my voice wouldn't last the whole time. There's no way. And I'd have to say, all right, I agree with Gorilla. My favorite episode between the two was definitely the one with the ghosts. It was great to see a little bit of the slapstick comedy. I thought it was hilarious to see the castaways running around with the sheets and with those silly hats on top of their heads. It was nice to see Richard Keel play a little bit of a role in that episode as well. I know at the time in the '60s he wasn't as well known as Ted Cassidy because those seem to be back in the '60s and '70s. Those were the two big guys that Hollywood always went to whenever they needed a giant or somebody really huge. And of course, we got Ted Cassidy, played Ruck in Star Trek TOS, among many other episodes, and he also played Lurch on the Addams Family. But then we did get to see Richard Kiel later on, as we mentioned. We saw him in Twilight Zone, like I said, in the episode of Sir Man, where he played the Knamet, and as well as the James Bond movies as Jaws. So I like that. Between that, I still like the second episode, but I did prefer the first one the most. And Saturday, I should be back if everything works out with another Rumblings from the Lab. Everyone's welcome to join us. That'll be great. Please try to be there, 7 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I'm still getting used to my time change. But that'll be 7 p.m. Mountain Time on Saturday for Rumblings from the Lab. And then Monday, we're going to be returning for our second season of Lost in Space in Color with our very first episode, where we'll get to see, without too many spoilers, the Robinsons finally get off that planet of Pre-Planets, which will be nice. And then we'll see them, some episodes of them traveling through space and the various adventures that follow along with that. And then next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time for our sci-fi horror stream, we're going to be covering the movie Starship Troopers, the original, with Casper Van Dien. And I'll be posting that link as well as a reminder in my community tab on my channel. And that's also going to be fun. Please try to make that if you can. If you have not seen it, I highly recommend it. It's a great movie, horror/sci-fi, I would describe it. And then, of course, next Wednesday, we should be back for 2 more episodes of Gilligan's Island, where we're nearing the end of the second season. And I'll be excited, and we'll be ready to get into the third season. And when we get into the third season, I'm really going to delve into a lot of the background of the cast and some of their background, some other things they've done, also clips, interviews, and stuff like that over the years. I've got a wealth of material that I'm waiting to share. I'm excited. So, yeah, if you guys can make it, like I said, up Saturday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, Rumblings from the Lab.
All right.
And now,
oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, if you want to read the chat, go for it.
Alrighty. He says, PvP says, sure, or why not? And PvP says, already voted. Then Oiler Greg gives us a bunch of ghosts. And welcome, Taylor Swift. Welcome. He gives us a bunch of those turquoise people. Your catch us right on the.
Good to see you.
Yeah, your catch us right on the back end there. And PvP's giving us a bunch of sick emojis there. And Pickle says, thanks, Poppin' Gorillas.
Always my pleasure. Go ahead.
Yeah. And DVB here put my channel in. Thank you very much for that. And Daniel said, how did it end? They screwed with Gilligan, pulled out they made like a replica of the needle that was about 10 times bigger than the other one. And Professor was screwing with them, and Gilligan got jabbed in the butt.
With the smaller shot. And then that's basically where the episode ended, yes. Because, of course, they realized that it was Gilligan's hair shampoo that they were allergic to the whole time.
Yeah. And PvP says, I watched the Walt. It was one I actually remembered. Not sure that's a good thing. Yeah, that can go either two ways. That can go 2 ways there. And Scribber says, hey, Daniel. And DVB says, everyone here is probably already subscribed, but just in case, I post a girl's channel. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. We are all subbed, or else Gorilla will pummel us with a big gorilla fist.
And knock you over the head with a banana.
Yeah. And I really would love to see Scurvy here, Kronos, and Snortopoopas all on a panel together. I think that would be one hell of a live stream.
Well, I don't know about Snortopoopas, but I agree on the others.
Oh, Snortopoopas is pretty funny. He's pretty funny there. And PvP says, look.
I agree to disagree, so I'll put it that way without saying too much.
Okay. And PvP says, looking forward to season 2 of Lost in Space in color.
In color, yes.
Yeah.
Danger, be there.
Yeah. And DVB says, well, thanks for the show, Pops and Gorilla. It's been fun, guys. Yeah, not a problem.
Like Mario, seriously, I had a great time tonight. We missed a couple of weeks of Gilligan's Island, and I personally miss it too. So it was really good. Makes me feel a lot better. It's like the little shot of medicine that I needed. So yeah, thank you. Likewise, I feel the same way. Go ahead, Gorilla. Sorry.
Yeah, DVB says, like Mario says, it's been fun. It's been enough fun. And PvP says sneezing emojis. All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you. And as a reminder, if you haven't done so, please vote in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and then share the results with everybody. And we'll see what we got. All right. End poll. Yeah, it was definitely, I think it was two good episodes. I liked the first one the most between the two, but I think they were both really good, solid episodes and very funny. And here we go. Here's the results of our poll. Which episode did you enjoy the most? And it looks like Ghost to Go got 50%. Ooh, right down the middle, Gorilla. And Allergy Time as well got 50% with a total of 8 votes. So excellent, excellent turnout. And thank you guys for voting. That's nice to get a difference of opinion there. And so it looks like generally you guys enjoyed them, which is always a good thing. Sorry, I had to cough. This darn cough is persistent.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think I've got a little bit of cold. I need to shake. Yeah, I've got a cough and this stupid sneezing and runny nose. So I'm trying to hopefully kick that before my treatment next week. Because what I don't need is both of those at the same time. But yes, thank you everybody for joining us. It was a great turnout tonight. It was really good to see you guys again. And we
Yeah.
usually do try to read all the chats because without you guys, we wouldn't be here. If we didn't, for some reason, if we weren't able to read your chat, please let us know. I want to make sure that everybody feels included. And if you have a channel or any content on your channel you'd like for us to plug, and if it's not already in my Stream Elements bot where it shows up on the screen every 5 or 10 minutes, please let us know, and I will definitely add it. Your time is very valuable, and I appreciate it. So I figure if you're going to spend time here coming to my channel, I'll definitely do the same for you.
Yeah. And before we end, Scurvy says, thanks, Pop and Gorilla. PvP says, it was fun, Pop and Gorilla. Nice to have you guys back. And DVP
Cool.
gives us a thumbs up with fire.
Very cool. All right, guys. Like I said, please try to join us if you can Saturday for Rumblings from the Lab. That's going to be fun. We always had a lot of interesting topics to go on. Last week it was crazy. It lasted over 7 hours. And I know that's a little too long for a lot of people, but maybe you can, if you get a chance, check these out on the rerun. Try to tune in for at least part of it, at least as long as we can sustain your attention. And most of all, I want to thank my fellow panelists, Gorilla. Great job tonight, and I know it's late for you, so yeah, definitely. I know you're giving it your all, and thank you for the help with the reading the chat. It's really great, and like I said, I couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, no problem.
And for all you guys in the chat, take care. If it is late for you, if you have to work tomorrow, make sure you drive safe, and that way you'll be here for next time. And obviously, you'll be fine for making content for your own channel. And with that, everybody, have a wonderful, fantastic night. And I will see you in about 3 or 4 days or so. Take care, everyone.